company.
Tonight on Ctv3 News, search intensifies for missing 13-year-old Guatemalan girl Lissy Suntecum amid family fears and rumors. Government maintains stance on salary increment plan amid union discontent and pension reform concerns. Public officers blockade at PGIA and disrupt travel amid wage protest. And Belize's northern sugar industry faces major losses as for serum outbreak and falling world prices signal end of difficult season. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, June 18th, 2025.
I welcome you to the graduation of our first cohort, as well as the launch of our second cohort of the project entitled Increasing Economic Power for Micro-Entrepreneurs.
Through this bilateral collaboration, the Women's Empowerment Project, over the past 4 years, we have witnessed numerous women entrepreneurs making significant strides and fulfilling their potential. There are so many inspiring stories that encourage us to continue doing this.
We can celebrate 74 women that will graduate from round 1 of our ministry's Increasing Economic Power for Micro-Entrepreneurs project, and at the same time we're welcoming an additional 60 women entrepreneurs who will participate in round 2. To the women here today, you are the brains, you are the hearts, and the hands of this initiative, and you are the reason why we are here. Let this be a reminder that your voice matters, that your work matters, and that your economic empowerment is a national priority.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Face FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Tonight, the search for missing 13-year-old Guatemalan student Lissy Yamilet Sentunku Milan has intensified as her family fears the worst. Lissy went missing on Monday from her school in the community of San Jose Socots in the Cayo district. She was last seen around lunchtime, and reports are that the young girl had told a friend that her aunt would be picking her up, while other reports suggest that she was seen getting into a white pickup truck with a woman and a man. The teen girl has not been seen or heard from since. Her relatives are now urging the public to help, while also clearing up rumors surrounding her identity, which has been put to question by reports which suggest that the young girl may be in search of her real mother. In a live video done by her brother and aunt, the family is asking for any assistance to help bring Lissy home.
Yo soy hermano de Lissy Yamilet, y pues sí, hay rumores que dicen que ella se fue buscando a su mamá, pero su verdadera mamá es mi mamá, y pues todos dicen diferentes cosas, pero hasta ahorita no hemos sabido nada, y pues buscamos, si alguien nos puede ayudar con información, pues sería bueno. Esa es la imagen de ella, y pues estoy con mi tía aquí viendo para que no tengan malentendidos que dicen que no es mi mamá, no es su mamá la que la anda buscando, pero sí es mi mamá. Igual ella es mi tía y igual es tía de ella, y pues ahí la pueden ver para que miren que sí es familia de nosotros, y necesitamos encontrarla. De 3 días que no sabemos nada de ella, nadie dice nada, y pues les agradeceríamos la información que tengan de ella.
Liz's brother was joined by his aunt to explain that the entire family, both in Belize and Guatemala, is actively involved in the search. They also presented official documents confirming the familial relationship.
Verdad que haciendo un recorrido en la aldea, de que mencionan, verdad, muchas personas tienen varias versiones de que la niña pues no es hija de Suseli, que Suseli Yamilet Milian es su mamá. Hacemos saber que sí es su mamá y que la estamos buscando y que hay rumores de que se fue con un familiar, ya el familiar pues ya está bajo investigación, pero igualmente la persona indica de que no la tiene, ¿verdad? Entonces ya es un caso más serio, por lo cual nosotros pues estamos aquí haciendo el llamado a todos los vecinos, ¿verdad? Si alguien tiene alguna información o logró ver algo, ¿verdad? O conoce a la persona de que si vieron algo, ¿verdad? Que nos pueden brindar la información, ya sea confidencial, ¿verdad? Para nosotros tener una pista para buscarla, ¿verdad? Aquí está en la foto de ella, ¿verdad? Desapareció del colegio y hasta hoy pues ya es el tercer día que desapareció aquí de la escuela y no sabemos nada, ¿verdad? Entonces si hacemos saber eso, ¿verdad? Que sí la estamos buscando porque sí, la verdad es preocupante. Ya 3 días y no tenemos ninguna información. Entonces, si alguien que haya visto algo y que Dios toque sus corazones para que nos pueda comunicar, si tiene alguna información, vamos a agradecer mucho el apoyo que nos brinden y siempre estamos ahí con el teléfono en mano por si alguien le nace o dar alguna información o sabe o ve algo, ¿verdad? Que nos lo haga saber. Les vamos a estar muy agradecidos.
The family is asking anyone with information to contact them confidentially at 502-3344-7897 in Guatemala or family members in Belize at phone number 661-5855. After 24 weeks of grinding this season, the northern sugar industry is slowly winding up to an end as cane fields are dwindling down and the rainy season slowly creeps in. After close to 6 months of intensive sugar making, however, this year the crop will come to a less than sweet wrap-up as the industry is expecting major losses this year. A major loss in revenue is expected as world sugar prices experience a significant drop and Belize's sugar production falters significantly due to the ongoing Fusarium fungus, which is affecting the entire northern region. Coming off a record-breaking sugar payment in 2024, Chairman of the Sugar Industry Control Board, Marcos Osorio, is tonight warning farmers to brace for a serious economic impact.
In terms of the present crop, we had a discussion with Minister of Agriculture and Minister of Economic Transformation on Monday, where we provided an update on the status of the state of the sugar industry. And basically, for this crop has been a very challenging one in many years, most challenging one in many years, where we are seeing a further drop in sugarcane production. We are, in terms of cane quality, we are down in cane quality, and as a result of the drop in cane quality, we also have a significant drop in sugar production. So we are estimating and forecasting that we would be about between 20 to 25,000 tons of sugar less when we compare it to last year. In terms of sugarcane production, we are seeing around 120,000 tons less cane than last year. Overall, the crop last year generated in income, a total of $163 million. We are estimating that based on the present price estimate and what we can achieve from now to the end or for the second payment, it is likely that we may see a drop of around $50 million in terms of income. And of that amount, remember 65% after costs is farmer share. We are estimating that farmers may see around between 25 maybe to $30 million less in revenues to them as a result of the present situation. And also important to mention is that the market today, prices in the market are dropping. So all that, when we combine everything, is a major economic loss to the entire sugar industry, farmers and the miller as well.
Industry stakeholders are expected to meet in the coming days to determine an exact date to mark the closure of the 2024-2025 crop season.
Should be meeting around Monday next week. If it does not happen for Friday, we are monitoring on a day-by-day the deliveries, which have kept dropping because the entire crop had a major challenge of manpower for preparing the cane to the mill. Even though the mechanical harvesters and the mechanical cutters have helped greatly, but it's not enough. So that in itself have been a major challenge. Cane has been weighing less, yields are down. So we are monitoring. We would want to get all the cane available to the mill, but now we are seeing weather is changing, and the manpower for cane cutting has continued dropping. So it's likely that latest Monday we may have a discussion with our stakeholders and already discuss a tentative end date of the crop. But generally it will be a very bad crop for this year.
As the northern sugar industry now braces for a significant economic impact with expected losses of over 50 million this crop season due to mainly to the negative effects of the Fusarium infection, the Ministry of Agriculture has presented a 3-step plan to help restore the industry and mitigate some of these losses. This includes the allocation of funds from the Ministry of Agriculture, IICA's Hemispheric Fund for Climate Change Disasters, and the World Bank's project, CRESAP, to be used for various intervention strategies.
We secured from CRESAP, which is the Climate Resilient Sustainable Agriculture Project, we secured $2 million for CIRDI, strengthening CIRDI's capacity to expand their lab and to improve their laboratory equipment so that they can produce and multiply the fungus, trichoderma. $2 million is for that. That's one action. The second action is the working with ICA and UB to isolate the native species of trichoderma, which is native to Belize, multiply it to see the effectiveness on the Fusarium. There is trichoderma in other countries, native to other countries, other climates, other conditions. But if we depend on that, we have to import constantly. So in our natural environment, the Fusarium exists, so we need to isolate it, multiply it, and then move it on to another lab to mass multiply to distribute to farmers. That is the biological control part of the disease. The second part is sustainable practices. We in our Capital 2 budget we have earmarked $500,000 for that. These practices, we work with some farmers in areas and say you will do this in this particular manner, right? Sustainable practices. And the third is resistant varieties. We are partnering with the private sector to get hold of varieties that are tolerant or resistant to the disease. So those 3 actions are what we are doing. 5Cs on their part said that they will join actively and financially to help us fund some of the needs wherever it is needed or whatever is recommended by CIRDI. So we, but that is on the short run or medium term. So we are moving right ahead fast. We can't wait any more longer. Remember, the crop is coming to an end now. The treatment begins now so that in December you can have a crop. If you don't try to curve it between now and 6 months, we're going to have a serious problem. Right? Although, even if we do all the things that we're doing, we will still have people who will fail, who have to get out of the industry. Doing all the things we've said and more, there will be some people that will be unable to survive. Okay? But we are hopeful that our strategy is going to work.
In the medium term, the industry is also looking to work with the 5 Cs to integrate more resistant cane varieties in Belize. The Belize government remains committed to its phased approach for salary adjustments despite persistent opposition from the Public Service Union PSU and ongoing debates over proposed pension changes. The PSU has been insisting on an immediate 8.5% pay raise for public servants. However, government officials have reiterated that such an increase is not feasible within the current fiscal constraints. Instead, the administration has proposed a gradual salary hike spread over 3 years, a plan that the unions have rejected. Discontent also surrounds the plan to introduce a 5% pensions contribution for newly hired public officers starting in October. Union representatives have expressed concern over this potential requirement. But in response today, Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance, Chris Koye, clarified that there is no plan for all current public officers and teachers to immediately start paying a 5% contribution, dismissing reports of such a mandate as inaccurate. He explained that the pension reform aims to gradually transition from a non-contributory to a contributory system, a shift he describes as standard practice across the Caribbean and Latin America and long overdue for Belize.
Ultimately, we can only do what we can afford. So the finances, reviewing the finances, looking at what makes economic sense, what makes financial sense, not just for today, but for tomorrow and further into the future, is what we have to have account of before any adjustments can be made. What is clear is that we can afford what was proposed in the second proposal.
And was that, as the teachers read it, that it was including the 4% linked to the pension changes and so pension reform?
I think the pension reform propositions, that's been on the table, that's been ongoing, part of the ongoing discussions between the government and the joint unions for a couple of years now. There's been quite a bit of analysis. But what is absolutely clear, certainly what I've seen, is there has been miscommunication, if not misinformation, being provided to the public by the joint unions so far as what the reform proposals constitute. There is no proposition that all existing public officers and teachers will immediately have to pay 5% contribution. That's totally inaccurate. What is in fact the case, and what is being put on as the proposition, is an incremental move from non-contributory to a contributory pension plan. There is no non-contributory pension plan for public officers in the entirety of the Caribbean and Latin America. It's a total anomaly that it continues to exist in Belize. But at the same time, I think the government recognizes that it has to be a process. There has to be a process, both in relation to contribution rate, in relation to retirement age, and in relation to the replacement rate. In relation to the contribution rate, what through the analysis done by both the SSB actuary and the IMF, is that contribution pension or contributor pension scheme be introduced in an incremental way over a period of 10 years, with a 0.5% increment being introduced each year until you reach the 5% at the end of 10 years.
Coming up next, Belize sugar industry embraces regenerative agriculture. Stay tuned.
Attention farmers. The New World screwworm is a serious threat to livestock, pets, wildlife, and humans. It causes yield losses, damages the quality of meat and skins, and can even kill them if left untreated. Check your animals daily. If you see any wounds on them, treat them immediately. Prevention is key. Apply approved healing and fly repellents to the navel of newborn animals after dehorning, ear tagging, or any other practice that leaves wounds on your animals to ensure your animal's well-being. If you notice worms in unusual wounds, report them immediately. Call Baja at 824-4872 or text or WhatsApp 670-7003 or call your nearest Ministry of Agriculture office. And don't forget, never transport or receive animals with injuries. Together, we will prevent the spread of this dangerous disease. This message was brought to you by Baja, OIRSA, AICA, USDA, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security, and Enterprise.
As of mid-June 2025, Belize is contending with an escalating outbreak of the New World Screwworm NWS, with confirmed cases surpassing 116. The parasitic fly poses a significant threat to livestock, wildlife, pets, and in rare instances, even humans. Since its first infection in December 2024, Belize has been working tirelessly on the group to maintain the number of infections to a minimum. These efforts, according to Agriculture Minister Honorable Hosemai, have proven fruitful as Belize is the country in the region with the lowest number of infections despite no sterile fly being dispersed in the country. Based on the groundwork being led by Baja, BLPA, OIRSA, and the Ministry of Belize's cattle industry, valued at approximately $90 million, has remained resilient amid the outbreak.
Screwworms continue to spread in the country. We continue to have cases, not as much as that spread in Mexico. Mexico has close to 2,000 cases, I think, and they were infected 1 month before us. We have no sterile flies. Infected 1 month before us. We have no sterile flies dispersed in the country to control screwworms, but we have to close. I think we're close to 120 cases, somewhere around there. But people are still on the ground doing farm visits, treating animals, visiting farm to farm. Of course, the resources are getting scarce because it's a very expensive operation, but we are doing fine. So far, our markets are still secure in Mexico, and we hope that continues. From all our negotiations with Mexico is saying, no, you are welcome to export to us once your animals are clean, the inspections are done, we meet the protocols, and so we are trying very much to try to keep it out of the area where we export cattle from. But the time will come that we will find cases nearby, but we are doing everything that is in the books that they have asked of us, Senasica, to put all the mechanisms in place. We put checkpoints. We will be investing some more in inspection centers, and so we're supposed to hopefully when they start to disperse flies, we'll see a drop in the cases. But so far we're doing fine. We're controlling what we have. We're trying to contain it. Our markets continue to be uninterrupted, and I think that it will remain as that.
Early this morning, a group of public officers organized a blockade at the main entrance of the Philip Goulston International Airport, PGIA, causing significant disruption to travelers, tour operators, and airport staff. The demonstration garnered widespread attention on social media, with protesters positioned across the access road, effectively blocking all vehicle movement in and out of the airport premises. In a notable incident, the president of the Public Service Union, PSU, arrived at the airport in his vehicle but was turned away as news of the planned protest had already circulated, preventing him from gaining entry. Flowers explained to the media that he was present to pick up arriving passengers.
And so I don't know no threat. As a matter of fact, I do have to fight to make the custom officer, the immigration officer, the Met Office officers who I just met with, those Met officers, if them people would have taken one stand, the injustice that is being levied on them, the civil aviation people, then we can get one simple upgrade There's a lot to say about the officers that are providing a very essential services here. And like I said to them this morning, it is in your hands. The government has about 10 more days. And I love the commitment that I got from the officers up here today. And I will register that today with the visitors who they come off the plane, including the people where they know I'm to pick up. The union does not plan to do anything here
But
today.
you have protesters in at the parking lot, Dean.
Me? Jules,
I see they have on yellow shirt, they have the sign.
I was requested to do some office visit at the PGIA. I am carrying out my legal responsibility as president of this union.
Despite denial, it was more than obvious that the union members and other supporters, including Union Senator Glenfield Dennison, were there to protest. Not willing to back down, President of the PSU allegedly parked his vehicle in a designated no parking area, and as such, his wheel and that of 3 other individuals were locked while at the PGIA. As mentioned, the blockade resulted in numerous transportation service providers being stranded inside the airport, unable to complete scheduled pickups or drop-offs for arriving and departing flights. Authorities responded by deploying police officers to oversee the situation, aiming to maintain order and ensure the safety of both the protesters and the general public. But according to Flowers, this won't be the last time union members will visit the PGIA.
It is important that the government understand that the PGIA will be our new stamping grounds. We will return here. The right here, so all the excitement will happen until justice is served and public officers are given what they are due. They need to get their financial czar, to go out there and find the money that is owed to us. Because the PGIA, we will return here. This will become our new stamping ground. Because the international community need to know that when they come to Belize, then they contribute to a corrupt system. And so if they want we continue disrupting the tourism sector, whether in the fleece right now, if they don't want we disrupt it, they need to also do the right thing, give the public officers what is due to them, give the public officers what they have worked for, and address governance issues in this country. And so if they think that today are the only time we can come back here until this impasse is resolved, they're wrong.
This protest is part of an ongoing campaign by public officers demanding improved wages and better working conditions, highlighting the broader tensions between the government authorities and public service employees. The international fuel market has been witnessing significant fluctuations in recent months, driven by a combination of geopolitical tensions, supply chain disruptions, and shifts in global demand. These price swings have had wide-ranging impacts on economies worldwide, affecting everything from transportation costs to consumer prices. For example, earlier this year, crude oil prices surged due to conflicts in the Middle East, with Brent crude surpassing $100 per barrel for the first time in over a year. This escalation contributed to higher gasoline and diesel prices across Europe and North America. Conversely, in late summer, prices dipped as U.S. shale oil production increased and fears of a recession dampened demand, leading to a temporary stabilization. These global trends underscore the complex dynamics influencing fuel prices, which are affected by factors like geopolitical stability, production quotas set by organizations like OPEC, and broader economic conditions. Amidst this global volatility, Belize's government has been dealing with its own fuel fluctuation. Minister of State Christopher Koyi recently addressed questions from the media regarding the apparent disconnect between international fuel price movements and local prices. He explained that while global prices are a significant factor, the government adjusts fuel taxes and other revenues in response to these shifts.
I think in terms of fuel there are shifts upwards and downwards, and with respect to the fuel and the tax revenues from fuel, that is adjusted having regard to those changes in fuel prices. But at the same time, the government does have to generate tax revenues to pay for all the expenses, including the proposed salary increases.
The Sugar Industry Research and Development Institute, CIRDI, in efforts of transforming the northern sugar industry today, hosted a groundbreaking symposium focusing on regenerative sugar production practices. The event followed the completion of a farmer field school where smart agricultural techniques were put to the test, offering promising results for the future of sugarcane farming in Belize, which is currently experiencing major setbacks. The symposium brought together farmers, industry leaders, researchers, and policymakers to review the findings from the field school, which emphasized sustainable, climate-smart methods aimed at improving soil health, increasing resilience to pests and diseases, and enhancing yields, all while reducing the industry's environmental footprint.
CIRDI had partnered with the Nature Conservancy 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, and a pilot or model farm was established using the farmer field school methodology, where regenerative practices were implemented as the crop was from planting all the way to harvesting. And today, basically, the symposium is to bring to farmers the results from the farmer field school regenerative model farm. The objective is that given that we are on a monoculture crop, the farmers' practices have remained the same over decades. Then we have been facing challenges such as soil compaction, the continuous use year by year of the same herbicides, and then likely the same blends of fertilizers. And also the practice of burning after harvest, that have impacted our soil health, soil structure. We have moved from small transportation units to larger transportation units, and today even mechanical harvesters. So that the harvesting practice have created a lot of soil compaction, which requires that we every year, or at least every 2 years, we do this practice of subsoiling, which means is to open up the soil to allow for oxygen to flow, air to flow, and for root development.
Smarter agriculture has never been more important in Belize, according to Marcos Osorio, as sugar production is facing significant challenges from climate change and declining soil fertility to fluctuating global prices.
Because of the soil compaction, we have been seeing difficulty in crops developing and yielding well, even when the farmer does I would say adequate interventions in terms of keeping the field clean, fertilizing, managing their pest problem, but yields are still not up. So through the regenerative strategy, we are ensuring, we are promoting them to do intercropping, to do cover crops, which we would call green fertilizers, to do some mulching. But I think in this model farm, what was done is we planted beans, which provides for food, and even if a farmer have excess production, then he can sell that. So he can generate some income from the activity. And also removing the chemical component in producing, mulching our harvest residues, and so on. So, and also in terms of pest management, the ideal is to use the available resources that are out there, going back to biological control, or integrating biological control into the production system.
Throughout the farmer field school, participating farmers implemented techniques such as cover cropping, minimal tillage, integrated pest management, and organic soil amendments. These practices were monitored with data collected on soil quality, crop productivity, and input efficiency. Those results, according to Osorio, are now being presented.
So I think, and today as we face the fusarium challenge, then fusarium is managed with biological agents. So that in a way, it will help and contribute to the industry in moving or transition from strictly chemical controls to biological controls. And also most importantly is looking at the soil health and soil structure, which is what we need to address in the first instance. If we have a healthy soil and we have a good soil structure, then our crops will develop better. The crop will be better prepared to fight any pest. So the regenerative production system is one that we believe is doable. Yes, it will require a change of culture when it comes to the farmers, but I think showing them, giving them the results that we have achieved, and expanding the program within the sugar industry, I believe will help us to ensure that we can transition. And I would love to see a transitioning within the next 10 days that we can say we have transitioned 50,000 or 50% of the acreage and that our yields are improving.
CERDI hopes that by sharing these success stories and research-backed strategies, the sugar industry will begin to embrace regenerative agriculture as a viable path forward, especially in the face of mounting environmental and economic pressures.
It's simply to give back to the soil what we had taken away in the past. Because when we talk of biological agents for managing fusarium, for example, and we talk of trichoderma, bacillus, those organisms are soil-borne, just like the fusarium. But because of our management practices, we have killed those organisms. And now we need to produce them in a laboratory and bring it back to the soil. So the goal is that over time, CERDI build its capacity in being able to produce these microorganisms. Even the farmer associations, that we are encouraging them to if we can support them financially through other resources from other organizations, for them to also build capacity in producing, for example, trichoderma, biol, which is a sort of a biological fertilizer, so that we can respond to the demand of the entire sector. That's the only way I believe that we will be able to transition, and I would love to see a transition, a shorter period of transition than a long one. And I think that will help us to achieve sustainable sugarcane production, which will bring benefits to farmers, to the country, environment. Because I think all these practices will contribute to us reducing emissions of greenhouse gases to the environment. And I would say even if we can achieve a net zero carbon, and also maybe in the future look at selling some of these carbon credits that we may generate to benefit farmers and benefit the industry in a whole.
The symposium saw representation from all 4 cane farmer associations, the millers, the Ministry of Agriculture, among other key industry stakeholders. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
On the pitch, we play as a team. Off the field, we protect ourselves. Vaccine save lives.
Measles doesn't just affect one child. It spreads fast, disrupt learning, friendships, and irreplaceable moments.
I work with my hands, but this message comes from my heart. Protect your family.
You might have seen me on social media before, but have you seen measles? Trust me, we don't want to. Protect yourself.
I've been a practicing pediatrician in Belize for the last 20 years. And through that entire time, they have never seen measles as a disease in our country. To the parents who have vaccinated their children, excellent. We have nothing to worry about. To the ones who are thinking about it, please get it done as soon as possible. Vaccination do save lives.
Minister of Health and Wellness, Kevin Bernard, is representing Belize in the 69th Ordinary Meeting of the Council of Ministers of Health of Central America and the Dominican Republic, COMISCA, which takes place in San Jose, Costa Rica on June 18 to the 19th, 2025. The high-level meeting brings together ministers of health from the region to discuss and coordinate action on key public health priorities, including malaria elimination, HIV and tuberculosis control, regional regulatory strengthening, health promotion, and the advancement of a regional digital health strategy. Belize's participation reflects its ongoing commitment to regional cooperation and health integration. By engaging with regional counterparts, Belize strengthens its voice in shaping collective health responses, accesses technical expertise, and benefits from shared initiatives such as joint negotiations for medicines and harmonized policies. This forum also provides a strategic platform for Belize to advance national interests, especially in digital health transformation and regulatory innovation, both of which are critical to improving access, efficiency, and equity in healthcare delivery. Through active participation in COMISCA, Belize continues to demonstrate leadership and solidarity in building a stronger, more resilient regional health system. As part of COMISCA, Bernard also joined fellow health leaders from across Central America and the Dominican Republic for a special visit to Hospital Monseñor Sanabria in Punta Arenas, Costa Rica. The delegation toured key hospital services and witnessed Costa Rica's innovation in patient-centered care, digital transformation, and modernized health systems. And in other news, highlighting the Ministry of Health through the Universal Health Coverage Partnership, UHCP, the Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization, PAHO, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, MOHW, are advancing in digital health data management with the implementation of the International Classification of Disease 11th Revision, ICD-11, within the Clinical Data Exchange Platform, CDEP. As part of the MOHW's digital health agenda outlined in the Strategic Plan 2025-2034, the integration of the ICD-11 into the CDEP is a vital step in strengthening Belize's health information systems, enhancing interoperability between platforms, and improving the accuracy of morbidity and mortality data reporting. By adopting the ICD-11, Belize will meet international standards for disease classification and coding, thereby supporting improved clinical decision-making, more effective resource allocation, and enhanced public health interventions. Once fully implemented, the CDEP, which will mainly integrate the Belize Health Information System, BHIS, and the National Health Insurance Real-Time Automated Web-Based Application, will play a key role in real-time health data exchange and epidemiological surveillance. This 4-day training will enhance the capacity of health professionals, medical and nursing coders, IT specialists, and statistical officers. It will be a comprehensive training on the effective use of ICD-11, ensuring health professionals are well prepared to use the classification system. Additionally, IT personnel will be well equipped with the necessary skills to manage API, application programming interface, integration, and interoperability within the CDEP. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, June 19th, here on Ctv3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at Ctv3 News BZ. From all of us here at Ctv3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.